Next, the application and other explanatory material of key audit matters. In determining key audit matters, a judgment-based decision-making framework should be able to assist auditors. There are 3 frameworks that can be applied. The first one is matters communicated with those charged with governance. Auditors are required to communicate significant findings from the audit with those charged with governance. For example, significant difficulties encountered during audit procedure, communications regarding related party transactions, limitations on group audit, and consultations difficulty or contentious matters. Secondly, matters that required significant auditor attention in performing the audit. There are a few matters that auditor must pay attention to while performing the audit. Among them are challenges in obtaining audit evidence, challenges in forming opinion, and complex judgment which affect the overall audit strategy, resources allocation and extent of audit effort. Besides that, auditor also determines which matter required significant attention in performing audit and matter relating those charged with governance. Those matters are areas of higher assessed risk of material misstatement, or significant risk, areas in the financial statements that involved significant management judgment, and significant events or transactions that occurred during the period. Lastly, matters of most significance in the audit of the financial statements of the current period. It is made based on professional judgment which may be affected by the size and complexity of entity, nature of its business and environment. Factors to be considered when determining are nature and extent of communication with those charged with governance, users' understanding on materiality of the matter, nature of accounting policy of the entity compared to others in the industry, whether the matter involved a number of separate, but related, auditing considerations, nature and extent of audit effort needed to address the matter, nature of difficulties in applying audit procedures, difficulties of any control deficiencies identified relevant to the matter, and nature of fraud and error related. While, in communicating key audit matters, auditors shall describe each of the key audit matters. It is also where the key audit matters are matters most significance based on auditors' professional judgment in audit of financial statement of current period. These matters addressed in context of audit of financial statement as a whole. Thus, auditor does not provide opinions. Key audit matters in auditor's report when auditor express unmodified opinion on financial statement are: first, placement of key audit matters section in auditor's report. The purpose is to give prominence to information related and acknowledge perceived value information given to users, and also, the presentation of individual matter is based on professional judgment. Second, nature and extent of the description of key audit matters in audit report. The purpose of description of key audit matter is to provide explanation for users to understand matter which are most significant in audit even though it's based on professional judgment. Thus, by limiting highly technical auditing terms, it will help users who lack knowledge to understand what auditors focus on particular matters during audit. The description in auditor's report determined to be key audit matters based on following such as factors that influenced auditor's risk assessment. For example, high estimation uncertainty. Economic condition affect the process of obtaining audit evidence. New accounting policies. And changes in entity's strategy or business model which materially impact financial statement. Besides that, it can also based on the approach of auditors to the matter, such as whether the auditor use an expert to obtain audit evidence. Other than that, it also based on whether the matter involved significant management judgment or not. Lastly, based on key communication with those charged with governance. In communicating key audit matters, a written documentation with those charged with governance and other audit documentation are a useful basis for communication in auditor's report. It can assist auditors in developing description that explains significance of matter. It is also deemed that discussion of key audit matters is not a substitute for disclosure in financial statements. However, auditors' ability to communicate key audit matters may be restricted by law, regulation, or ethical standards because investigations, confidentiality, or data protection. There are also some matters which are viewed as sensitive. This is because of their nature, such as fraud risk identified in context of entity and significant deficiency in internal control. Let's see the effect on the audit. Sometimes, it is difficult to summarize procedure performed which adequately communicates the nature and extent of auditor's response. Significant judgment by the auditor play a part in order to assess risks of material misstatement. Describing audit approach may also assist users in understanding unusual circumstances and judgments to identify risk of material misstatement.